Hey, Leslie, John Morrow, how you doing?
Good, John. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. Congrats on, well, I guess, congrats on finishing up a season in which you guys ranked first in so many areas. What's that say about this defense, and what are the challenges that lie ahead?
Well, it speaks to all the hard work that the players and the coaches put in, John, throughout the entire offseason, going all the way back to after the Kansas City game and the championship game a year ago. And our coaches came back and began to work to put together a system for the 2021 defense. And they laid a really good foundation. Our players bought in throughout the offseason. And it just speaks to the buy-in by our players and the hard work that our coaches and players put into it. That being said, now we enter a new season, the postseason, where there'll be some other challenges other than what we faced during the regular season, and we'll have to step up and rise to those challenges that come with being a part of the postseason. So it doesn't get any easier. We're going to face some really good offenses, starting it with the offense that we're going to face this weekend. And it just really emboldens you to want to work as hard as you can to put your best foot forward on the biggest stage when you get to the postseason.
Secondly, I know you don't want this to be a distraction, but I've confirmed, and there's reports out there that the Bears have expressed interest in your services. What can you share with that?
I really don't know anything about it, John. We've been in meetings all day, as you can imagine, on a short week, and we just finished a ball game yesterday. It's almost like you're in a cave, just working as hard as you can to get up to speed on whatever changes you want to make and with the team that we're facing. So I have not really followed any news reports, or I really don't know a whole lot about what's going on around the league right now.
All the best to you, Leslie. I appreciate the answer.
Thank you.
Coach Pat Freeman from the Beat 105.5. Congratulations on winning the division.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you.
I wanted to ask you about that defensive line the last several weeks, especially the play of Ed Oliver and Harrison Phillips, but also Vernon Butler was moving around pretty good yesterday. How impressed have you been with your rotation and delivering the things that you've needed to be successful the last few weeks?
Yeah, I think Eric Washington and Jacques Cesaire, his assistant, they've done a terrific job in really bringing our defensive line along. We were, early in the season, we were going through our rotation, trying to figure things out, and just to make sure that we were playing our best football in late December, early January with our defensive line. And I think that's been the case. And just so proud of Ed Oliver, and you mentioned Vernon yesterday stepping up and really giving us some pocket push. And to get that many sacks in the final game of the season just speaks to how well Eric and Jock did of keeping our guys fresh and having a rotation where we're not wearing guys out where they can't help us throughout the ball game. So just a terrific job, and it speaks to our depth as well, Pat, that we have really good depth. And that speaks to Greg Russo, Carlos Basham coming in and playing for us and doing a good job, AJ Epinesa. We've got really good depth along with good leadership, and Mario Addison, Harrison Phillips, along with Jerry Hughes as well. So we're very fortunate.
My last question to you, Coach. Congratulations on having the #1 overall defense, but I believe they mentioned that it's the first time that the #1 overall defense has not had a representative in the Pro Bowl. I know two guys that I believe should be there. They're the best safety tandem I've seen in the history of this organization, and that's Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. How important have they been for your success since you've been here?
Pat, I would concur with you. Those guys are outstanding, and they are deserving of being in that Pro Bowl, along with some of our other guys. I put Matt Milano in there. I put Tremaine in there. Obviously, healthy Tredavis, and Levi Wallace has had a really good season for us as well. Ed Oliver has been terrific. But speaking about our safeties, they are the backbone of our secondary. They help us to get lined up. They lead us in so many ways with their communication, and they just create havoc for opposing quarterbacks with their movement, giving them different looks, their disguises. They've been really good for us over the years, and I don't know where we'd be without them. They're both interchangeable guys that gives us so much flexibility in our scheme that it makes our jobs as coaches really much easier.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you on Saturday.
Thank you.
Hey, Leslie, you guys have been lights out against rookie quarterbacks this season, only allowing 1 passing touchdown to 6 interceptions and holding rookie quarterbacks to just a 47% completion percentage this year. The lone win by a rookie quarterback was, of course, Mac Jones. So why do you think your defense has been so great against rookie quarterbacks this season? And why do you think their streak that they're on right now can help them going into the first round of the playoffs?
Well, there was one other quarterback that got us, Maddie, who was a rookie, and that was in that Jacksonville game, when I want to forget for sure.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I like to forget that one. But I just think our guys do a good job of just honing in on what, each opposing quarterback likes and what he doesn't like as well. And I don't know if it's as much about the fact that a guy's a rookie or as much as it is about our guys studying and really having a good understanding of their opponent. And not just the quarterback position, but what the overall offense is trying to get accomplished. And that's probably had as much to do with our success as anything. Just our guys putting in the time and the work to have a great clarity about what does this offense like? What do we have to take away? And then going through it and getting it taken care of in practice and then carrying that over to a ball game.
I was just ready to forget about that Jacksonville game. It's like it never happened. One more question for me. You guys got to play in front of 6,700 fans in the playoffs last year, but you'll get to play in front of a full home stadium this Saturday. I mean, what does it mean to this defense to get to play in front of like 70,000 people?
Oh, man, that's going to be so nice, man. We're looking forward to it. The noise that our fans are going to create, it's just it's going to be an electric atmosphere. And we're really looking forward to it. It makes it hard on the opposing team, so we're going to try to do our best to give them something to cheer about. And just looking forward to seeing, all our fans and the noise that it's going to create. And it's going to be a great atmosphere, a good time.
I love it. Thanks, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Hey, Leslie, good to see you. You mentioned Jay Skursky's article a couple weeks ago, written about the defensive line. And I want to go back to the Patriots game, the first Patriots game, when obviously the post-game interaction between Jerry and Micah happened and that word embarrassing came up. Do you feel like in any way that was kind of a springboard in a similar way? Not to, credit Jerry or anything like that, but like that was something that, lit a fire in that group, because you saw all of them come out together. And when they were told after the game on Sunday, and when they were told about the stats and the accomplishments as a group, it's a close-knit group and a proud group. How would you categorize that both?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go there and say an article that was written was the impetus for the production by our players. I mean, those guys, they play hard, they prepare. And they have, as you mentioned, great pride about what they do. They're professional athletes. This is what they do for a living. This is how they feed their families. And they go out and work as hard as they possibly can to be the best they can, no matter whether you write something positive or negative about them. They're going to show up because they're high character guys, the guys you're speaking of, whether it's Levi Wallace in our secondary, Micah Hyde, Jerry Hughes, Jordan Poyer, our D-line, secondary, doesn't matter. They have great pride about what they do. And a lot of those guys, they don't even read the newspaper or watch sports because they want to really be locked in on the task at hand and don't want to be swayed or create, anything that's going to become a distraction for them. So to answer your question, they hurt when we don't win as a team or we don't play up to our standard as a defense, no matter what's written or said. And if nothing is said, they're their harshest critics. I mean, they're going to get on themselves when they watch tape and if something wasn't right because of who they are and the type of people that they are, they're going to try to fix it. They're going to try to get it corrected. And that's one of the reasons our guys have, constantly been able to rebound from a difficult period. And that happens in our league. but everybody doesn't bounce back. But when you got high character guys who are talented and really care, they find ways to bounce back. And our guys have done that year in and year out throughout the season, throughout the NFL season, where there's so many ups and downs. So I think it's as much to do about the pride that they have as much as anything.
Thank you for that. And if I could ask you about Mac Jones, he's had quite the rookie season, a lot of buzz around him. It hasn't been as good recently. What do you think, when you look at him on film and what he's been able to do, you've played him twice, where he's had success and maybe where he struggled, and what kind of player you guys are going to face on Saturday?
Well, he's done an outstanding job as a rookie quarterback, and I would not be surprised if he ends up being voted Rookie of the Year, or he garners a lot of votes for Rookie of the Year. He's played that well, and to get your team to the playoffs as a rookie quarterback, that is hard to do, and he's had a lot to do with their success as a team. So he's been impressive with the way he's been able to manage their offense, make all the throws that he needs to make, and he's supported by a really, really good run game as well. But when he has to make throws, he's shown that he's capable of doing that. So we've been really impressed with what he's accomplished as a rookie, and his future's bright in our league.
Thanks, Leslie.
You will.
Good afternoon, Coach Frazier, George Radney, Challenger Community News. How you doing this afternoon?
Doing good, George. How are you?
Pretty good. Just two quick questions for you. One, on the defensive side, it seems like the defense now is more aggressive. Is that in tune that they're going after people now? They're going after the line and taking control of that line of scrimmage?
I think throughout the year, we've been an aggressive defense. We hit a bump in the road along the way where we maybe didn't have the production that we would have liked, George. But I think that's always been there. It's just coming to the forefront a little bit more as the season has gone on. But our guys have always wanted to be in your face. Let's get this done style defense. So I think it's been there, and we just come on the other side of some tough moments during the course of the season.
Yes, and my last question for you: when your opponent is going into the win at our stadium, are you able, as a defensive coordinator, to do different things, to run plays differently, maybe even take liberties, gamble per se on certain plays, because they most likely won't be able to throw the ball a certain distance?
Yeah, it definitely changes strategy when the wind affects, say, for instance, the passing game like it has on occasion. Yeah. So you're going to call the game a little bit different when that's the case, for sure. You just got to be smart about what you're doing. But yeah, it would definitely change how you approach the situation when the win is a factor, particularly in the passing game.
So it really becomes more of almost a situational type game call?
Absolutely. Based on the conditions, you got to adjust. You may have gone into the game with one game plan, but because of the conditions, things have changed. And now you got to, go to your next best thing to be able to do. And we've had to do that sometimes at our stadium because it changes. And where the wind is blowing, what direction it's blowing can change in the middle of a game as well. So you got to be ready to adjust.
All right. Thank you very much. Good luck this coming Saturday, and good luck on the coaching interviews as well.
Thank you, George.
Hello, Leslie. Tim Graham from The Athletic here. I wanted to ask you about Levi Wallace and over the years, how you would explain his career arc.
Tim, Levi in so many ways is an unsung hero. When you think about a guy who played at the University of Alabama, ends up walking on and becoming a starter, and then he's signed as an NFL undrafted free agent, which is literally a walk-on in pro football, and ends up becoming an NFL starter, and now to be arguably our best corner with the absence of Tre'Davious. It's a great story for anyone out there that aspires to maybe play at our level, but maybe things haven't always gone your way. Maybe you weren't a 5-star player coming out of high school, or even as a college player, you weren't an All-American. But Levi is a great example of what hard work can do, in a belief where you believe in yourself, and then you put in the time in your preparation. And because you're a high character individual, you have a chance to succeed and see your dreams come true. So his arc is still rising. He has not peaked yet. He's had a really, really good season for us. But his story is a very interesting story, one that is inspirational in so many ways.
A lot of times when a guy makes a roster as an undrafted rookie, some guys maybe stick around for a little bit, but he's been playing at such a high level. At what point do you just turn the page on that, on that narrative and say, this guy's just good? He slipped through the cracks, but this guy, it's not just because he tried really hard or caught a break. This guy's really good.
That's a good question, Tim. I think that's how we feel as coaches and his teammates and our administration as well. I mean, we all feel that way. There are others out there because he is an undrafted guy. And Levi, I'll tell you this, because I went undrafted, I'll always have this target on my chest where people think they can go after me and make plays because I wasn't drafted. And I think that's part of what's allowed him or enabled him to go out and play at such a high level because he has that chip on his shoulder that all these teams passed over me. And now I get a chance to line up against these good wide receivers and really show you that I'm more than capable of playing against these good players. So at some point, maybe others may get away from the undrafted free agent Levi Wallace. But I think for Levi, it's a motivator. I think he'll always keep it there, Tim, just to keep him going in a certain way. Just keep that fire burning.
And then real quick, I'm sorry to the others on here who want to ask a question regarding Levi. What stands out from him in the last month and a half since Tre'Davious has been out? How he's stood in there?
Yeah, one of the things that stood out for me, and I think the same with John Butler, our secondary coach, who's done a terrific job and really helping Levi achieve great success in our league. His leadership, Tim. Once we lost Tre'Davious, who was arguably one of our top leaders in the secondary, along with Micah and Jordan, but on our defense in its entirety, that left a void, and we were wondering, who's going to step up, who's going to fill that role, both verbally as well as production-wise. And Levi, I mean, he's been terrific as far as helping Dane, communicating with him, talking with him, watching tape with him, really leading the other guys in our secondary that are the next guy up. And we needed that, with the absence of Tre'Davious not being in the building. So that part has impressed me tremendously. He's always been a good player for us, but the leadership part of it, that's been really good to see.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Hey, Leslie, this might feel a little random, but you've given us really good insight on some of the guys on offense just from going against them during practice. And I was curious about Mitch Trubisky, came in after starting for a bunch of years, but now is such a large role on scout team. What have you seen of him this season and him helping prepare the defense for games?
Yeah, Kevin, what I see is a professional in every sense of the word. The way he comes to practice every day, you wouldn't know that he's not a starter currently in the league, or the fact that he was a former starter. Because when you're running the scout team, a lot of times you're working off of cards, and you're kind of doing what the coaches ask you to do, and you can almost feel handcuffed at times. Because we've had some other guys who run the scout team and been in that role, and they don't always want to do what you ask them to do, Captain. They want to do their own thing. They want to, you have a card drawn and you want the ball thrown to this person. They want to throw it over here, and you're like, man, this defensive period is not your period, But Mitch is not like that, He understands his role, and he's a professional about the way he goes about it, and he's preparing himself every week to, get in and play if he has to play, and that's what you want from your backup quarterback. So I appreciate how professional he's been and how much of a student of the game he is. I mean, he's learning from our defense and how we do things, but he's also helping us just by going through his progressions when he's working off those cards.
Yeah, when you mentioned that learning from the defense, that can prepare him for future things too. How much have you seen that of him being able to see what a defense does and apply it to what he may do in the future?
Yeah, so when we have our Friday practice, a lot of times we'll have a no huddle period where it's kind of unscripted, and Mitch will run that for our defense. And you get a chance to see him operate, and you can see the growth from early in the season and his understanding of what he's seeing on defense, because our defense is probably a little bit different than some of the ones that he may be preparing for on that particular Sunday. But his growth in recognizing coverages, knowing when to tuck the ball away and try to get an extra few yards or take my check down, just seeing that maturation over the course of the season, which is, credit to Ken Dorsey and our offensive staff. But that's growth. Not always just trying to go for the home run to impress the coaches, but take what the defense is giving you. And, I've seen that throughout this year with his growth.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Hey, Leslie, one more for me, not related to the game, but next Monday is MLK Day. So what does Martin Luther King mean to you?
Man, when you talk about Martin Luther King, for me, and I think most Americans, you're talking about a groundbreaker, a person who changed the trajectory of a race through the sacrifices that he made, along with many others, but through his leadership and his guidance. And he paved the way for a lot of barriers being broken down. And forever grateful for Martin Luther King's sacrifice, his willingness to put himself out there against opposition for the greater good, for the greater good of all of us, just to challenge our thinking about people in general, and to be able to go against the wave, when it wasn't popular, to stand up for what you think is right and be willing to do the ultimate sacrifice. I'm willing to give my life so that other people can have rights that I don't currently have. So much respect for the sacrifice of Martin Luther King Jr. and what he's meant to America, and in particular to my race, African Americans. Tremendous sacrifice, and forever grateful for his sacrifice.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leslie.
You're welcome.